An important component in analog systems is the filter. In this section we're going to measure the frequency response of an HF cutoff filter. To achieve this we're going to generate a sweep waveform and then measure the response on the channel A input. So first thing is to set up the generator, and we're going to generate frequencies from 200 Hz at the low frequency end. I'm going to sweep it up to 20 kHz at the HF end. And I'm going to set the frequency increment to 200 Hz, and again this will give a fast response for testing. And I'm going to set the time interval to 50 microseconds, again to give a fast frequency sweep time. So here we can see the waveform sweeping. So the first thing I notice now is there's a warning here that it's overranging. So I'm going to change the input sensitivity to 2 volts. In fact that's okay. In fact we could probably go down one more range to 1 volt to give the best vertical resolution on the measurement. I'm going to set the time base to say 200 microseconds so we can view the sweeping waveform, and I'm going to set the record length in fact down to 500 points. Again this is a trade-off between resolution and acquisition time. So to give a very fast visual acquisition time now, I'm going to set it just to 500 sample points. So that is the generator set up, and the final thing I'm going to do now is to set up a spectrum mode so we can make a measurement of the frequency response. So to achieve this I'm going to add a second view, so I'm going to make it 2 viewports. So here we have viewport 1 and 2, and in viewport 2 I'm going to add a spectrum display. So now here we see the spectrum display and the time display in the upper panel. So I'm going to set up the spectrum now. I'm going to use 256 bins. Again this is a trade-off again between resolution and response time. And I'm going to set the window function to flat top, and rather than magnitude I'm going to select peak hold and apply and have a log display and apply those changes, and now here straight away we can actually see the response of the filter. So here we can see the HF filter. This is the 20 kHz, and this is down at the 200 Hz where we started the sweep, and immediately we can now see, and we can in fact measure the roll-off. So I could say put on some cursors, so from the peak down to the cutoff point, that is in fact 16 dBs of a cutoff there. But just to illustrate the acquisition time, I'll stop the acquisition and restart it, and here we can see how quickly it builds up that display. And in fact if I just finally, I'll switch out the filter, so we're going to have a flat response, and there again we can now see the amplifier without the filter in with a flat response.